Hi, and welcome back to the Beaumaris Echo. I'm Dave. I think this is number 4 now on our list of thingies, and I have to say I'm quite surprised at the amount of interest being shown in the site, which is really nice. I had a few emails. Very quickly. Oh, before I forget, go to a site on YouTube called Scotty Does. It's a guy called Scott Mallon. He's an absolute hoot, American. His voice and his accent remind me of one of the crooks in Home Alone and the series that went on. But he lives in Thailand. He's got a lot to say about Thailand. I'm not saying I agree with everything I say, but it's entertaining. And you will learn quite a lot about Thailand for sure. Okay, so that's Scott Mallon rather, on Scotty Does. Another email from a Stephen Hughes asking about the Amphur. Well, that's the way he spelt it. No, it's the Amper. And the Amper is the local authority in the UK, City Hall type of thing. It's where the Thais go to do their business, and it's where you would go to register your marriage in Thailand. So yeah, Amper. And the other thing he asked was how do you pronounce Phuket? Well, that's how you pronounce it, Phuket. PH is an explosive P, and it's not F like a lot of people think. The other question I had was about Thai gold. Is it worth buying Thai gold? And is it what's the purity of Thai gold? Well, I can tell you now, it's 23-24 carat. It's good, heavy, and yes, it's a good investment. I've got, I'm not quite sure of the weight in grams. It's about 7 baht. Gold is weighed in baht in Thailand. Mine's about 7 baht, and I've been buying it over the years. Actually, every time I go over, I'll go to the gold shop, same gold shop, and trade it in and buy and add 1 baht to something similar. You see, so it's got heavier and heavier and bigger and bigger. It's got to the point now. I didn't really think about it. It's so heavy. I mean, it's not outrageous. It's quite long. If I had it on now, you'll be able to see it. But if I try and sleep in it, it's lying across my neck. It's quite uncomfortable, so I have to take it off. So next time we go over, I'm going to trade it in. I'm not quite sure what I'll do. I might get a light bracelet and start all over again. We'll see. The other question was, why didn't I talk about Walking Street when I mentioned Pattaya? Okay, I will, but not in this instance. And the other one was marriage in Thailand. How do you go about getting married in Thailand? Yeah, I can tell you about that. Now, one thing I should say is if you go to some of these agencies, it will cost you, I think the going rate now is about 3.5 grand. And that's included, that's the marriage and visa. In fact, it might just be the visa. But getting married in Thailand isn't a difficult thing at all. In fact, it's very straightforward, surprisingly straightforward. But you would be expected to have your Thai wedding afterwards. Not in every case, but... And that is where the wedding price comes in. But I'll talk about that in a separate blog. There's too much to talk about there. So, right, in this instance, I want to talk to you about driving over in Thailand. And you'll be very pleased to know if you're from the UK and some of the colonies that they drive on the left. And the main reason for that is because the King of Thailand, going back, oh gosh, I think he was number 4. Anyway, he declared neutrality, which meant that none of the thieving bloody Europeans could get in there and steal the rights to his country. He was very crafty. He was a wise man, a very wise man. If any of you have ever watched The King and I, which is banned in Thailand, and rightly so, it will explain a little bit more. But it only touches on the fact that he didn't approve of slavery and everything else, because it's quite farcical. Once you know Thailand, you realise that it's all bull, and the Anna that wrote it all up originally, she didn't, nothing like that ever happened as it turned out. It was just her spinning a yarn. But there we are. Anyway, driving in Thailand, okay. First thing, A lot of people talk about international driving licenses. An international driving license is not what you need. You need an international driving permit. The difference. You can get it online through the AA in the UK. I think it's £8.50 altogether, something like that. It's not a tremendous amount of dosh, but you're supposed to have that. You should also have your passport and your UK driving licence with you. Okay, let's do hiring first of all. So if you're hiring a car or a motorbike, go around the vehicle and take photographs of any little scratch or dent, and when you're with the person that you would say, well, there's this one here, you see this one here, click, and you see this one here, click, and that's just to make sure they don't try and charge you when you go back with the vehicle. Also, if you're hiring a motorbike, make sure you get a crash helmet, full face if you can. It is the law in Thailand that everybody's supposed to wear a crash helmet. Now, you can buy a Thai crash helmet, I don't know, about £5, but it's not going to do you an awful lot of good in an accident, but it's good enough for the law. It's more like these Tonka helmets that we give to our children, you know. And I wouldn't say it's even as hard as a bump cap on a building site, but if you've got one on, the police aren't going to stop you. If you're driving around the motorbike, the police will pull you. So there you go, passport. And it's up to you when it comes to full face. If you don't mind wearing a crash helmet that God knows who's been wearing, go ahead. Personally, I'd shave my head before I did it, I think. Anyway, the reason I say full face and also visor, if you're tootling along at X amount of speed and a rather large insect smacks you in the eyeball, you could lose an eye. So you need a visor, you need to keep your eyes protected. And believe me, some of the insects over there are pretty big. So, okay, we drive on the left, we hire the car or motorbike. If you're hiring a motorbike, some of the big ones, you can hire anything over £250, I think. You need to show your licence that you've passed your test on a motorbike. Not in every instance, but in some places. I did many years ago, and personally, I'd much rather hire a little motorbike than a very noisy Harley Davidson that everybody turns around and goes, idiot, because you know there we are. That's it. Then okay, okay. It's a 3-lane highway basically. 3 lanes here, 3 lanes over there. So on the highway, you've got the hard shoulder, you've got left-hand lane, middle lane, right-hand lane. When you come on, tootle along in the left-hand lane till there's a gap, then move over. If you stay in that left-hand lane for too long and the police are around, you'll get pulled. It's not what you do, it's not the way to do it. It's for coming on to the to the motorway and getting off as well, of course. But it's not for driving along, it's not a slow lane. So you're driving either the middle lane or the right-hand side lane, but be aware that in the right-hand side lane, you keep looking ahead all the time. And when you see a U-turn sign, be aware there'll be traffic stopping in front of you, ready to make a U-turn. Yeah, U-turns on the motorway. And there'll be U-turns coming from that side onto your bit, and like that. So it's the U-turns you've got to be aware of. You get used to it. It's just part of driving over there. So you can overtake and undertake. So if the traffic on the right hand lane is slower, it's fine for you in the middle lane to go a bit faster. Cars will actually overtake in the left, they'll do it, but I wouldn't advise it. So overtaking, doesn't matter which lane you're in, you can pass other slow vehicles, that's fine. The inside lane, when you come on, you might have a bit of a shock, because sometimes on the hard shoulder you'll see traffic coming towards you. And there'll be locals, and they're just going from village A over there, a shortcut on the motorway to village B. It just seems to be the done thing over there, but if you're aware of it, you can, you know, avoid any accidents, keep out of that lane. Okay, speed limits vary depending just where you are. There doesn't seem to be a national speed limit as such. Everywhere it's posted, so it's in kilometres as well, so be aware of that. Now then, police stops, let's cover that bit. especially in the early hours of the morning, the police will set up roadblocks and pull people. They're supposed to be looking for drink and drugs. I've known Thais get in a car and drive after drinking a bottle of scotch. You know, I've also known one who actually didn't make it. He found him in a drainage ditch the next day. But I think the allowable alcohol in your bloodstream is quite low. So be careful, you're over there, just don't get hammered. So you can overtake, undertake, and the police stops, pull you over. First policeman will be, they always wear the paper masks. He'll ask for your driving licence. Very few Thai policemen speak English. So there's going to be a lot of sign language here. So he'll ask for your driving licence, he'll take it out and he'll stick it in front of the, under the windscreen wiper in the front. And he'll point to the side, where you'll go to speak to another policeman who will give you a nice salute and everything else. And then he will try to tell you what you've done wrong. Now if you're a Falang with no Thai there, you're in with a chance of just breezing it, because you don't know what he's saying. And you might get the little, oh yeah, but, you know, and signs for whatever, a couple of $100 baht. The favourite excuse is that you were driving in the left-hand lane for too long and the camera saw you, and of course you know damn well there wasn't any cameras back behind you there, but there's really no point in arguing because you're onto a loser, so you may as well just pay up and look big. You could ask for the paper and pay later, but that will be considerably more. Anyway, be aware of the police system over there. And I can't say too much, I'm going over in a few weeks' time, so I've got to behave. Right. With the motorbikes, if you get one of the big bikes, you can hire a Harley over there. It's not a huge amount of money. And a lot of the time the baffles aren't in the exhaust because Falang want them loud, or well, this Falang doesn't, they're horrendous. But if you want to tootle around on a Harley for a few days, I've ridden one and they're quite pleasant. They feel a bit lumpy underneath, but they're quite pleasant to drive. It's just, I just wanted to have a go on a Harley. But a friend of mine had his own Harley, and he somehow the bike revved and went from underneath him. He fell over backwards and banged his head. And when he came to, he felt okay and just carried on. Anyway, 3 days later, he died, embolism. So if you do, and he didn't have a crash helmet on either. If you do bang your head or anything like that, for goodness sake, go to the hospital and get it sorted. I should also say, I lost a young brother-in-law some years ago now. He was sideswiped, knocked off his motorbike. And the police came along and he looked okay, and he was within sight of a hospital, and he was just sort of dazed and everything, and I said, oh, you'll be okay, off you go. Anyway, he died from internal injuries. Perhaps it was too far gone, we'll never know. So poor dead, yeah. Now then, if you're hiring a motorbike for you and your Thai girlfriend, you know, you've gone out there, first time out there, met a pretty girl, and you want to go do a bit of sightseeing, so you're hiring the motorbike. If she's got a skirt on, they'll usually ride side saddle. So for heaven's sake, be careful. They're very good at riding side saddle, I have to say, but just be careful with her on the back like that. And I did see an accident in Pattaya on Soy Diana, where the guy came round the corner with his little girl perched on the back, and there was a car going to take the opposite way. Anyway, he swerved, she came off, tried to sort of run with the speed of it on her high heels and broke both her ankles. And it was anyway, that story actually had a happy ending, but I can't remember the guy's name now. He lived in Essex. Maybe they both live in Essex now, you never know. Okay, so just to be extra careful. If you've had a few beers, be extra careful. If you cause an accident in Thailand, if it's your fault, and there's a Falang, it'll more than likely be your fault. you're always expected to pay compensation, not just for the vehicle. So bear that in mind. Right, my little dog's just wrecking the place down here. Right, petrol stations, when you go for your petrol, you're not allowed to put your own fuel in. So as you pull up to the pump, the guy will come to your window and he'll say, how much do you want? So let's just say you want 500 baht. He will put in 500 baht. And then you won't get the petrol till you've handed over the dosh, in most cases. And then once you've had your fuel, get away from the pump and go over, park in front of the shop. There's always toilets there, and surprisingly they're very clean, a lot cleaner than the ones we've got around, some of the ones I've seen in the UK certainly. And then you can pop into the shop, have a cup of coffee, ice cream or whatever you want, you know, sit outside, shoot the breeze, smoke a fag, because a lot of these hire cars no smoking. And you can't, it's no good trying to say you'll drive along with the window and have a fag, you'll cook. So just keep stopping every now and again, have your fags. If the owner of the vehicle, if you've hired a car or a pickup, the owner of the vehicle smells cigarette smoke in it, he will ask for compensation because he's going to have to deep clean the car. So there you go, no smoking in cabs. And pretty difficult to smoke on a motorbike, though I've done it. Right, if you're tootling along and you see, you can actually see a cloud burst in front of you. It sort of comes like you can see the rain coming down. Ride down gently, gently, gently. Everybody else will be doing it as well. There is so much tyre rubber impacted into the road surface that when you get these sudden downpours of rain, the chances of aquaplaning are enormous. It's happened to me a couple of times. It won't again. I'm aware of what was happening now, but yeah, literally your tyres aren't making contact with the road for a moment, and you try and hit the brakes, then you're going to rear end the car in front of you. So be aware of that. Also, in the rainy season, you could end up driving in 1 foot, 2 foot of water in some places. Now, unless you can see the traffic in front of you, stick in the middle lane, because there's drainage ditches everywhere, 6 to 10 foot deep. You do not want to end up driving into one of those. And also in some places you could have a canal alongside, or the moat up in Chiang Mai, things like this. To be aware of that, it can rain so heavily, so quickly, you might find that you'd prefer to pull off into a village or a petrol station, sit it out for a while until you suss out the best place to be in the road and make sure there's enough traffic you can follow something, you know. Road rage in Thailand, I've never seen it. Not saying it doesn't happen, of course it happens. But I drove from Bangkok down the Western Peninsula to Cham, and then drove back up to Bangkok a week later, and then right up to Udon from there. Didn't hear one beep, not one. So the Thais, you know, they just don't drive along with a hand on the horn. The Italians could learn a lot from them. If all the traffic on the road suddenly comes to a halt, there's more than likely been an accident up front. Sit it out, be patient. Don't try and zoom up the hard shoulder, because the police and the ambulances will probably be using that. So if you're involved in an accident on the main highway, try your very best to sort it out with the other driver that's involved with it. I think you find it very difficult with the time. Oh, that's the other thing I should have mentioned earlier, is insurance. Check what insurance the hire company have got. You know, it varies, and sometimes they say, "Oh, we'll do this if you pay X," and so check the insurance. If you can't, I think if it's obviously not your fault, I suggest you don't back down, but don't try arguing, because Thai men are not very good at arguing, because obviously you've got two different languages, but even if they could speak English, it's no good arguing with the Thai man. So you're perhaps better off waiting for the police and hope for the best and see what happens. It might be just as good just to sort of exchange documents, or the equivalent of, and let the insurance company take care of it. Also, I should say, roundabouts, treat them the same as we drive over here. but be aware of the traffic. They don't always obey the rule that traffic from the right has priority or anything like that, so just be a bit more careful. And traffic lights, very similar, but you might find you're driving down a road and it's obvious T-junction you're coming up to, and there'll be a big red light just flashing. And what that red light's saying to you is, be careful, take care. It's generally on roads that can be busy at certain times of the day. And when they're not busy, you'll just see this flashing light, red flashing light, and it just means just slow down, take it easy, and you won't go far wrong. That's about it really for the drive-in Thailand. And oh, the other thing, a lot of people are in-car cameras. Don't, if you have reason in an accident, you want to use that in-car camera, don't let it out of your sight. Otherwise you're going to come back with the chip missing and you'll have no record. So, you know, go figure. I can't really go into that, but don't rely on it unless it's in your hand and you're visibly showing it to somebody like that. Okay, alright, if that's been any help, do please hit the like button, and a share would be nice, and if you could subscribe, please, we need the subscribers. Any questions, whack it in the comments, or you can email me at thebumariseko@yahoo.com. There we are. I think that's about it for this this one on driving in Thailand. Not an unearthly experience. Oh, before I go, driving in Bangkok, it's not advisable unless you know where you're going. You're better off paying somebody else to drive you get you onto the outskirts. And don't be upset all the motorcyclists cutting you up or appearing to cut you up. As soon as the light changes, they're gone. They're pretty good at it. And the other thing that will help you in Bangkok, or can help you, is if you really need to get somewhere and you're stuck and you can't figure it out, find yourself a motorbike taxi. They're clearly marked, they have their little top aprons on with taxi on. And agree a price with him. Doesn't always work, mind, doesn't always work. Agree a price for him to lead you to where you want to go. But don't give him all the money. And say, this for now, when you get me to the Royal Palace, I'll give you this, okay? And you'll say, yeah, okay. Usually they take the chance. I've done it once, and it was okay. And just follow him, he knows the way, get there, pay up and look big. He's got the registration number, he'll find you. You know, one way or another, it won't stop there, so it's a way to go. Anyway, that's it for now. So it's bye from me, Dave, at the Bumariseko, and come back on the next one, which is going to be, it's already recorded now actually. It'll be up today or tomorrow, the sex scene in Thailand. Thanks a lot, see you later.